Hey everyone, BuffGenji here. Thanks for checking out the video. I've thought a lot about making a video going into the state of Genji for a while now, but recently there's been a lot of discussion about the state of Genji online, like with videos from Knight, Cager, Soul, and a wide variety of other channels. If you're new here, I'm a console Genji main with about 1,000 hours on the hero, and I'm currently Masters. First off, considering my username, do I want 35 damage shurikens, 300 HP, and a 150 damage blade? Well, obviously I take it, but that's not the goal. The goal is to restore Genji's identity as a fast assassin, a diver. But currently, that's just not the way to play the hero. And there are two main reasons for this. The first is due to the Season 9 changes with increased health pools, and the second is a continuing increase in immortality abilities, burst sustain, mobility, and beam attacks. These combined create a disconnect between how we want to play the hero and how you should play the hero, based off of Blizzard's vision for Genji and the changes made to the game around him. Before the Season 9 changes, but after the heavy Season 1 nerfs, Genji almost never made it above B in tier lists, compared to that being the norm recently. But at the same time, that was by far the most fun I've ever had in this game. Why? Because you could hit combos before supports could throw out their immortality abilities or teleport to a teammate. But now, that's often just not an option with increased health pools. The reason this matters for Genji so much is that his disengage is tied to getting a kill for the dash reset, then getting out. But if getting initial kill is that much harder to do, you aren't incentivized to go for combos. Instead, you're supposed to just poke and poke, hold an angle until forced out, and rely on your team to force all of the enemy's cooldowns before you can finally go in. That's not why I fell in love with this hero, and I'm sure the same is true of many other players. Now I'm sure many of you are thinking, but why not just use Deflect as a disengage? And you'd be partially right, but let me show you something right here. When I deflect, this is the entire distance I can make during that time. Now let me compare that to 2 blinks from Tracer. Recall. Reaper Raid. Venture Burrow. Field Dash. Honor and Dash. Are you seeing the problem? Every other dive hero can get so much further with their disengages, allowing them to safely escape to cover or their team, while still using another ability to get in range in the first place. The essential point I'm making is that every other dive hero in this game has a mobility option to consistently engage and disengage, but Genji only has one major mobility option, and can only use it again if he secures a kill, which, as I talked about earlier, is much harder to do now. Then, on top of this fact, Deflect doesn't even work against a large chunk of the cast. Just consider all the heroes that do beam damage, or AoE damage, or CC him through Deflect. And now, there's even more limitations to using Deflect as a disengage. The other mobility tool I haven't mentioned is the wall climb and double jump. Using these to engage or disengage is the only way I'm still able to play Genji like a dive hero. But the problem is that they obviously only work vertically. So unless you're targeting someone taking a specific position, that can be reached entirely through just vertical movement or roof sliding in a few niche cases, you're out of luck to use it as an engagement tool. The other way I use wall climb is after I dash someone and then back up with Deflect. I go towards a wall that lets me climb out to escape. But obviously, leaving your back turned while you're already low HP gets you killed many times. But then, if wall climb decides to bug out on you and simply not work, or if that wall juts out at the top, it gets you killed all the time. So these are many of the issues that leave Genji with very little room to function as a dive hero, and he's left to poke or brawl, and just use dash and maybe a few shurikens here and there, or a melee to confirm a kill, after a bunch of enemy cooldowns have already been used. And because of this, so many Genji players, including myself, have become very frustrated when playing the hero, because it simply isn't fun to play Genji this way, and trying to make him work as a dive hero is not only very difficult, but also straight up impossible in many cases, depending on the map and enemy heroes. Now, how do we address these problems without just buffing his numbers and making him OP? There are 2 routes I think you can go. Either you can leave Genji's core design the same, but just make his combos and movement stronger, or we introduce another mobility tool. For the first option, there are a lot of things I've considered. First, reduce Deflect cooldown back to 8 seconds. This is just a no-brainer. Drop his health to 225, increase jerkin damage from 27 to 28. The current damage is honestly pathetic when you consider how big health pools are now, and most other heroes have received buffs to breakpoints that Genji hasn't. Then, you should have his old acrobatics perk base kit, so we can double jump again after dashing or wall climbing. Wall climbing also needs to be able to work more consistently by fixing some bugs that make it just randomly not work, and also have it go up and around lips on the tops of walls. It already does this a little bit, but not enough. Dash needs some changes as well, so that dash bug doesn't camera lock you for so long, messing up your combos. And I cannot emphasize this enough, the need to rework the hitbox on his dash. It's a source of endless frustration, dashing out and being actively behind cover, only to get randomly killed by having the spot behind me get shot, and I die because hitbox is so long. It also makes it impossible to dodge shots and cooldowns with dash, since it makes his hitbox significantly bigger, which is ridiculous considering every other movement tool in this game can be used to dodge stuff. He also needs to have the internal cooldown after using melee cancelled when using dash or deflect. Most other divers can animation cancel melee with their abilities except for Genji. It just makes him feel too clunky for a hero that revolves around combos with his melee. Finally, make it so Blade can't be damage boosted by any source. This means that burst kills from Nano Blade, June Revolt Blade, and Mercy Damage Boost Blade are entirely gone. As much as I love speeding through with Nano Blade, it has to go. The result of all of this is that he's squishier and can't rely off of Nano Blade botting, but he has more consistency for combos and movement. If he's too strong, just nerf some of his perks. After all of that though, while it would certainly make Genji feel much better to play, it still wouldn't address the core issue of not being able to dive consistently like every other diver. So he would need a second mobility tool like a second dash. The first issue is that he would have 16 seconds of downtime after using both dashes, so I've reduced the cooldown to 6 seconds. The second issue is that he would be ridiculously OP, so I've reduced dash damage from 50 to 30, reduced HP to 225, removed blade damage boost, and reduced deflect duration from 2 to 1.5 seconds, now that he's less reliant on it. The final issue is that now his one-shot combo is entirely gone, so I'd make dash be able to cancel melee, so the new one-shot combo would be dash, triple headshot melee, dash. This would definitely be a big change, and I'm not totally sure how this would affect his win rate, but if he's insanely strong, you could reduce jerkin damage, or if he's weak, you could increase jerkin damage, buff blade damage to 120, or something else. To be honest, I doubt most of the changes have even a chance of being implemented, but I just wanted to discuss a lot of frustrations I and other players have felt with Genji the past few years. There's a clear disconnect between the devs and players' vision for Genji. Right now, he's played in a way that is easier but much less fun with a more poke or brawl playstyle, versus playing him as an assassin, going for combos and cool clips that I always love to do, which is much harder to execute but more engaging to play, making our time invested into the hero feel worth it. Thanks for sticking with me to the end of the video, and I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. Agree or disagree, just keep discussion civil. After all, we're just talking about video game characters. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate your like and sub. Until next time.